Welcome to What is Adult Safeguarding information session brought to you by Leicestershire and Rutland Safeguarding Adults Board. This information session will provide you with information on what adult safeguarding is, what abuse and neglect is, signs of abuse and neglect in adults, and what to do if you have concerns. My name is Shobna Patel. I work in Leicester Safeguarding Adults Board as an engagement officer. My role is to increase awareness to people in Leicester what adult safeguarding is and how they can access support if they are concerned for themselves, friends or family.
Hello. Hello. And my name's Helen Pearson, and I'm a Safeguarding Partnership Officer for Leicestershire and Rutland, Safeguarding Children's Partnership and Safeguarding Adults Board. And my role is to support the work of both of the partnerships and to increase awareness of what is adult safeguarding.
So, what is your understanding of adult safeguarding and what it is? Who do we safeguard when we talk about safeguarding adults under the Care Act 2014? Is the answer A, adults aged 18 and over with care and support needs? Answer B, adults aged 65 and over without care and support needs? Or is the answer C, both of the above? Think about what your answer is. The answer is A, adults aged 18 and over with care and support needs. The criteria is someone aged 18 and over with care and support needs. Safeguarding adults became a statutory duty under the Care Act 2014. This replaces all previous guidance relating to safeguarding adults. Safeguarding duties apply to an adult. This is where someone is aged 18 and over who meets all of the following criteria. The adult has needs for care and support, is experiencing or at risk of abuse or neglect, and is unable to protect themselves from either the risk of or the experience of abuse and neglect. So who might this include? So this would include people with learning disabilities, people with physical disabilities, people with sensory disabilities, people with mental ill health, people who are frail due to their age, people with dementia, people who misuse drugs and alcohol, and people with brain injuries, who also have care and support needs and are unable to protect themselves because of those needs. This does not include, for example, domestic abuse where the victim stroke survivor has no care and support needs. There are other specialist services available locally and nationally for adults who are experiencing domestic abuse.
Okay, so what do we mean by care and support needs? You might want to stop the video for a moment and just give some time to think about it. Can you think of examples of care and support needs? What sort of things might be, what sort of things might we be doing to support someone who has care and support needs? Okay, so now you've had time to think about it, and some examples are okay, so managing and maintaining nutrition. So that could be providing food, monitoring someone's diet, ensuring that someone who perhaps has diabetes is getting the right nutrition and balanced diet, maintaining personal hygiene, so actual personal care, taking someone to the toilet and helping them, assisting them, making sure that someone is appropriately clothed, and also that they're able to use their home safely. So making sure there are no hazards or trips. So maintaining a safe and clean home environment. It's not an exhaustive list, but we've got, some more here, developing and maintaining family or other personal relationships. So that's, making sure that people have access to their family, whether it might be through visits or on the phone or through social media these days. Accessing and engaging in work, training, educational volunteering. That might be helping someone to attend a day centre or to go to further education classes. Making use of necessary facilities, so supporting people to use public transport, go swimming, for instance. And also it could include carrying out caring responsibilities if the adult actually is also a parent, so supporting that person to carry out their parenting responsibilities.
So where can abuse and neglect take place? Sadly, abuse and neglect can happen anywhere, in your own home, a care home, hospital, day centre, or in public when you're out and about, shopping, using the public transport, anywhere. So who could abuse and neglect a person? Adults with care and support needs could be abused and neglected by anyone, including a partner, family member, neighbour, friend, health and social care professional, volunteer, or stranger.
Okay, now we're going to look at the different types of abuse. And I would really urge you to access our multi-agency policies and procedures on safeguarding adults, because they have a lot of really interesting information and guidance on the different types of abuse. And you'll get a link to that at the end of the presentation. But under the Care Act, there are a number of different types of abuse. So we've got psychological, self-neglect, financial, discriminatory abuse. We do touch on domestic abuse, but that is, as we stated earlier, that's where domestic abuse happens to people who are aged 18 and over and have care and support needs. There's neglect. So, we're talking about when things and acts of omission. Sorry, that's when things that should be done are not done. There's organisational abuse. So again, that could be a company, a care home. It could be a strategy or something that is actually, causing someone to experience abuse or neglect. Modern slavery, sexual abuse and physical abuse. And we're just going to look through one or two of the different types of abuse, not all of them, but we're going to look at one or two in particular. Next slide, please. So, self-neglect. This includes a wide range of behaviours, neglecting to care for one's personal hygiene, health or surroundings. And I think many of you will have seen situations like this reported in the media and in the news, where people are hoarding, they're not looking after their personal hygiene, and they're not tending to their own health needs and seeking advice or medical care and treatment as required. So this is where, you know, it isn't actually somebody doing something to the person, but they're actually, people are self-neglecting to the point where they are making themselves ill, and also maybe impacting on the health and care of other people, perhaps including neighbours. So that's self-neglect. Financial or material abuse. So this is a misappropriation of and misuse of money and assets. So this is where people are where things are happening to their money, things are being their money is being spent in an inappropriate way, transactions that they haven't consented to, or they have perhaps felt coerced into agreeing to. And, you know, people do that through intimidation and deception. But what we're talking about is theft, we're talking about fraud, we're talking about situations of internet scamming, which many of us can become victim to. But particularly vulnerable are those people with care and support needs. So it's coercion in relation to an adult's financial affairs or arrangements. And, you know, as we know, that can be through the writing up of wills, property owning, inheritance. So it's general misappropriation of property, possessions, and benefits. Neglect. So this is where, again, it is behaviour by carers, and that could be, as we've said before, you know, it could be different sorts of carers. It could be a family member. It could be someone that, you know, comes into your home to offer care. It could be someone within a care home. But where this is where it results in persistent or severe failure to meet physical or psychological needs of an individual. So it can include ignoring medical, emotional, physical needs, failing to provide access to appropriate health and support or educational facilities. So it could be that someone needs to attend a medical appointment, but is not taken. You know, they're not taken to that medical appointment. The withholding of those necessities of life, food, warmth, medication. So this is a neglect and acts of omission. Next slide, please. And psychological abuse. And this is quite a difficult one sometimes to recognise, because, you know, it isn't about physical signs initially. And you could say that psychological abuse happens when there are other forms of abuse present. There will be a psychological element to it. But this is action or neglect by a carer, whilst not of a physical nature, can severely impair psychological well-being of the person. And that obviously includes things like deprivation of contact, blaming, intimidation, threats, being controlling, coercive, humiliating someone, cyberbullying as well. I mean, that has become quite a significant feature with the advent of social media. But constantly putting one down, you know, ultimately that is going to have an impact. And ultimately, you know, it can affect someone's behavior, and it can affect them physically. You know, if someone might stop eating, might self-harm. So, you know, it is a very pervasive type of abuse, and, you know, we shouldn't underestimate it.
So spotting the signs of abuse and neglect is really important. This animation, See Something, Say Something, has been jointly developed by Leicester Safeguarding Adults Board and the Leicestershire and Rutland Safeguarding Adults Board. The animation aims to raise awareness of the signs of abuse and neglect for people with care and support needs. This video in particular shines a light on stories of domestic abuse, neglect, and cuckooing, but these signs can also indicate other forms of harm. When you know someone well and see changes in their behavior, appearance, or they avoid or stop contact, then consider why this might be. Sometimes adults with care and support needs may not be able to seek support, so the role of friends, family, carers, and neighbors is very important in helping them to seek the help they require. I'll now show you the animation.
In Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland, there are adults who may experience abuse and neglect, particularly those with care and support needs. Some adults may not realise it's happening to them, or they may feel they can do nothing to change it, so they may need your support. Signs of abuse and neglect come in different forms and can be difficult to spot. By understanding the telltale signs of abuse, you can help to safeguard yourself and other adults. These stories focus on 3 types of abuse and neglect, which are domestic abuse, neglect, and exploitation. Joe's story. Joe and his wife Anita are both in their 70s and have been married for 52 years. They have 3 children, Jay and Sheila, who live in the USA, and Smita, who lives nearby, but visits rarely. Joe was diagnosed with dementia 18 months ago, so he attends a day centre 2 days a week to give Anita some respite. Anita said Joe is stubborn and argumentative and gives the staff very specific instructions about how to provide support to Joe, such as what he can and can't eat. But staff have noticed that Joe enjoys all kinds of food and is happy to try new things. Recently, staff found bruising on both of Joe's upper arms. Joe said that Anita had grabbed him when they were having a row. The staff asked if they could phone his daughter, but he said he wasn't allowed to speak with her. The daycare staff were aware of a previous incident of bruising. Joe did not want anyone to say anything to Anita. A previous incident occurred when a neighbour called the police because of lots of shouting. But Anita had told the police Joe was out of control due to his dementia. This is an example of domestic abuse. Signs include not being allowed to contact or talk to family and friends, controlling finance, physical harm, name-calling, belittling or constant criticism, neglect, isolation and denying access to medical care. These can all be examples of controlling and coercive behaviour, which is a criminal offence. This type of behaviour could involve your partner or family members. Jenny's story. Jenny is aged 30 and has a degenerative muscle condition and uses a wheelchair to get about. She lives on her own. A personal assistant supports her with personal care, meeting friends, preparing meals, and attending medical appointments. Jenny has a great social network and attends a painting group. The group leader started to notice changes in Jenny. She looked unwell and was quiet. The following week, the group leader noticed that Jenny was still quiet and was not participating in the painting session. She also looked thinner, tired, was wearing unclean clothes and wasn't her usual self. When asked, Jenny said everything was fine, she had just not been able to sleep. Staff spoke to Jenny about their concerns and she agreed that they contact adult social care. The group leader contacted adult social care about their concerns and social care staff arranged to see Jenny at her home. Jenny's regular personal assistant had gone on an extended holiday, so she had been provided cover from a different personal assistant. The new personal assistant had been visiting twice a week rather than every day. Jenny didn't want to tell anyone because she was worried what may happen. This is an example of neglect. Signs include changes in an adult's appearance, hygiene and clothing, not attending activities, missed medical appointments, weight loss and tiredness. Frank's story. Frank is aged 33 and lives alone in a one-bedroom rented flat. He has a learning disability and diabetes, which is managed with medication. He is well known in the area and helps at a charity-run cafe most days. But the cafe noticed he hadn't been going there as regularly. His family used to speak to him every day, but they have not been able to get hold of him lately. The police were called to Frank's address following reports of antisocial behaviour and drug dealing. Frank was admitted to hospital, having been found very underweight and confused. 2 adults found in his flat were taken into custody.
This is an example of exploitation, sometimes called cuckooing.
Signs of this include deterioration in physical appearance, money and possessions going missing, changes in mood, signs of physical harm, absences from regular places, visits to their home from strangers claiming to be friends, unpaid bills, and evidence of drug-related activity. If you see something, say something. Together, we can safeguard adults against abuse and neglect in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. If you have any concerns about an adult, including yourself, contact the Adult Social Care Service in the area you or they live.
For Leicester, call 0116 454 1004. For Leicestershire, call 0116 305 0004. For Rutland, call 01572 758 341. You can contact Leicestershire Police via their website at www.leics.police.uk or call 101 or 999 in an emergency.
The animation highlights how important it is to be able to spot signs of abuse and neglect. Other signs of abuse and neglect could include unpaid bills lying around, unexplained changes in behavior, oversedation, appearing confused, unexplained weight loss, hoarding, untreated medical problems, missing personal possessions, bed sores, increased use of drug and alcohol, looking fearful, wearing torn clothing, appearing withdrawn, unexplained shortage of money, physical injuries, unexplained money withdrawals, and being hungry or being malnourished. This list is not exhaustive, and you may identify other signs of abuse and neglect. When you know someone well, you're more likely to notice when they behave in an uncharacteristic manner, which could cause concern.
Okay, so if you or someone you know is or you think is experiencing abuse or neglect, then it's important that you get help. Tell someone you trust as soon as possible. Obviously, seek medical attention if that's required, but then contact adult social care services in the area that you live or they live. It is important that we try and prevent abuse from occurring. One of the things that we do suggest is that wherever possible, if you are reporting someone or reporting concerns, that you speak to the adult concerned and say that you are concerned and that you want to report something to adult social care. Now, it may be that they refuse, they say, oh, I don't want you to do that. But you think you need to stop and think, am I really concerned? And should I do it anyway? And the answer is yes. Don't let someone's refusal stop you from referring if you have concerns. So here are all the numbers on this slide that you can contact within Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. Next slide, please. Whilst the focus of this presentation has been on the abuse of adults. Also, you need to consider if in a situation that you have observed that you have concerns about a child or a young person. And if so, then you have a responsibility to report those concerns. And again, on this slide, we have the telephone numbers of the Children's Social Care Office that you can contact for the area in which the child or the family lives. Next slide, please. Making safeguarding personal. Underpinning safeguarding work and is outlined in the Care Act is something that we call making safeguarding personal. And its approach, it is an approach which is at the centre of our safeguarding processes and guidance in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. It involves engaging with people who are experiencing abuse and neglect about the outcomes they want, and involves 6 principles, which are empowerment. So that's about making sure that people feel confident to make referrals or to raise concerns. That's about making sure that people have the right information and in the right format to empower somebody. Could, you know, information is power. The next principle is prevention. You know, it is better to identify things before they actually escalate. So if we can pick up signs before they escalate into a safeguarding concern, then all the better. So if you believe that somebody with a bit of extra support might prevent things escalating, then that's something that we should do. It is about preventing things happening. It is about preventing things happening again. Our approach to safeguarding should be proportionate. You know, it is about what is in the best interests of this person. What do they want to happen? What is a proportionate response? It's about protection, about making sure that people have access to information that helps protect them, to guidance, that our systems are in place to offer that protection, that we have resources that offer that protection, that we have skilled staff to work with people to encourage and support and offer protection. It's about working in partnership. There are a number of agencies, both statutory, independent, voluntary agencies that work together. You know, this is about a multi-agency approach. So it's about working in partnership with them, but it's about working in partnership very clearly with the individual at the centre. You know, it's about them. It's not about doing things to them, but working with them. And then accountability. So, you know, making it clear why we are doing what we're doing, why agencies are involved, what it is that informs the process that they're using and the actions that they're taking. So it's about being accountable and being evidence-based. Why are we doing what we're doing? So that is making safeguarding personal.
So this brings us to the end of our information session on safeguarding adults. To find out more information, visit our websites and YouTube channel, where you will find additional resources which may be useful. We do have information available in easy read and other languages, which may be beneficial as well. The links to the multi-agency policies and procedures page and our YouTube channel are available on our websites. For further information, contact the Safeguarding Board Office. Our telephone number is listed on the screens. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.